So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
September 26th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, and for the next 3 hours, it is Exhale Friday. Exhale Friday is you can call in or go on the message board and talk about whatever is on your mind and whatever's in your heart. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or twitter.com, The Rev Al, twitter.com, The Rev Al. And a lot is going on, and we are certainly on Exhale Friday always looking forward to going into it with you, to hear you, and to know what is on your mind. First, top of the news, of course, is that yesterday, as predicted, former FBI Director James Comey indicted for following the pressure from President Trump about saying that he lied on his testimony to Congress. What is the irony of this? I would even say the madness of it is that Comey's testimony and actions helped to defeat Hillary Clinton in 2016. And whatever his testimony was, it was in line with that, which helped put Trump in the White House the first time. Now Trump is pressured, has pressured, despite the fact other prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence there. He's got his people in now, and he's pressuring them to prosecute a man who, whatever was done, he was the recipient of, because the man ended up disagreeing with him on some policy. Now, if that doesn't show you how we're dealing with someone with total, unequivocal narcissism, and it's my way or the highway, even if you've done me a favor, I don't know what else will show it. So he brought into this position the newly installed U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan, who was a Trump ally, no prior prosecutorial experience. And despite the prosecutors, the line item, they call them prosecutors, that were working on the case, saying that there's not enough here, she went ahead and indicted him anyway on yesterday. And we can talk about that. We could talk also about yesterday, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke at the UN General Assembly here in New York. People walked out. There was jeering. He attacked those that had recognized Palestine as a state. He called it shameful, and he said they will finish the job in Gaza, rejecting international pressure and labeling the recognition of Palestinian statehood by countries like France and the UK as a mark of shame. And President Trump, in a rare statement against Netanyahu, saying he would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. And he also teased that maybe we have a deal on Gaza, presenting a 21-point peace plan to Arab leaders. And former Prime Minister, Tony Blair, has reported a possible figure in this. But global pressure is mounting. Israel's facing isolation. Many of us have for years said it must be a two-state solution. It's getting closer and closer to that. But Trump, who has always showed deference until some minor statements yesterday to Netanyahu, we are yet to see if we can back Netanyahu down. Now, you have to remember Netanyahu is facing indictments in Israel. And if his trial goes forward, the only reason it hasn't totally is because he's in office, and the only reason he's still in office is they're at war. If the war stops and he goes on trial and convicted, he's out of power. So many people feel that his motivation in continuing this conflict is to continue his freedom. Let's talk about that. Then we've got the Democrats being urged to fight back against the threatened shutdowns, the don't cave in this time. I certainly want to hear your thoughts on that. Trump is escalating pressure by refusing to negotiate while his budget director, Ross Vought, threatened mass federal workers firings if the Democrats don't accept the GOP bill. Republicans passed a stopgate through November 21st that lets ACA subsidies lapse, which is health care, and then they left town, leaving the Senate Act. And Trump and the GOP is blaming the Democrats. Democrats say, y'all have the vote, we're not going anywhere. And we are not caving. so far Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries is saying. So a lot to talk about, and again, a lot that we've talked about this week you may not have gotten through, and you can get through now. On Exhale Friday, whatever is on your heart and mind, I want to hear it. I just came in from Black Business Retreat in Foxwoods, Connecticut, and people around different stations and spaces are saying, what do we do? I have several of the National Action Network leaders, Ebony Rowley, our senior vice president, and others down at the Congressional Black Caucus, and they've done sessions. Ebony Rowley has. My daughter, youngest daughter, Ashley Sharpton, who heads our youth department, Huddle, they've done sessions. So between them and me with business, we're all over the place and getting ready for our fall strategy of dealing with shareholder meetings. So a lot is happening. I see the boards lit up already, messages. Barbara Jean saying Friday afternoon greetings from Chicago. Friday afternoon greetings to you, Barbara Jean. The Mayor Rodney Jones of Queensbridge Houses says the right talk about the weaponization of DOJ, hypocrisy to the 10th power. Don't have no sympathy for Comey because of what he did to Hillary Clinton. The big payback. That's the mayor talking. I'm sure I'll be looking for the mayor live and in Technicolor at the Saturday Action Rally in the morning. Pamela Gordon saying good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, peace and blessings. And Tanya Stovall. Tanya saying good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, and it's Jack Russo. Our folk is up and at it. Phones are lighting up. Let's get going. It is Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5797. Shopton, keeping it real. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Breaking news.
I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACP, with the Defense Fund together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
Reverend, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Sorry to hold you up.
No, not at all. I really appreciate your time.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes.
There's a, I don't know if you will remember this, but you came to Parliament in London with Lord Woolley, Simon Woolley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a round table.
Oh yeah. You in that?
I was, because before I became deputy mayor, I used to be a councilman. I was a city councilman, but I also helped found the biggest voter registration organisation in the whole of Europe.
Really?
Yeah. So last year we registered and we worked together with Simon 488,000 young people in just 6 weeks. So
wow.
Well, I learned a lot from you.
So did they turn out?
They did. Yeah, they turned out. But my worry is given like the state of politics in the UK right now, is their expectation of what a government could deliver is up here. The reality is somewhere here, and the performance is somewhere here.
Yeah.
And now it's like the next election, I guess similar to what you experienced between 2020 and 24. In the next election, my worry is a lot of those people who we had to convince to vote, they feel let down because they had a big appetite for change, and it hasn't really delivered in that same way. So
that's a very bad. The excitement is great, but when you start getting that coming down, some of them you lose for a long time, if not forever. And but I guess the challenge is how you excite people without over promising, and it's a problem. It's a problem all over the Western world. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there, and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf, because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people. hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Shopton.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, man.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. It is Exhale Friday, and let me tell you, with all that's going on, they're indicting FBI directors that helped put them in office. They're dealing with the UN, with Netanyahu's defying most of the world on Palestinian statehood, where Donald Trump comes up and defies most of the world, talking about what he is and is not going to do with tariffs, despite the fact that it is costing many of us grocery inflation prices. A lot happened this week. Jimmy Kimmel fired and then returned. If you ain't got nothing to say this week, I don't know when you will. So it is Exhale Friday. Let it out. Let it out. Don't bring it into the weekend. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go on our message page, which is at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can on the message page on our live stream. Let me say, I want to thank the mayor, Mayor Rodney Jones. He got to our technical department, our media department, and J.T. Trollinger, and said, y'all ought to put up the speech Reverend Sharpton made when he got an award last year at the Griot Awards. I got an award from the Griot, and everybody was there, from Eddie Murphy to Mariah Carey to Rock, you name them, all of them was there. Kevin Hart, and I made a speech, and we run it on the cycles while we do commercials. So you that are watching the live stream just saw it for the first time. But Brother Challenger has taken his orders from the mayor. You have to obey the mayor, and I thank the mayor for remembering. I forgot all about that speech. Dominic says, incredible, Reverend Al Sharpton, salute your courage and resilient spirit. I guess he just saw it. And Democracy.fund says, that speech Sharpton gave at the Griot is historic. As I have a dream in the Gettysburg Address, we, and he put in parentheses, white people are not worthy, but we better show respect if we care about the fates of our soul. Well, I don't know if it equals I Have a Dream of the Gettysburg Address, but in watching it, I did all right. 1-877-532-5797. Let me, by way of announcements, let you know, first of all, you do not want to miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC, both tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. And tomorrow's show, I'm going to have a Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. Nobody stronger, nobody more, in my opinion, on point with a perfect combination of content and character. She's going to be on, she's going to talk about the political climate since the killing of Charlie Kirk. She's going to talk about black woman unemployment and possible raids in Boston and other cities by ICE. And then I'm going to have on the Rodriguez Murray of the United Negro College Fund. And then I was not authorized to announce this. I told you all yesterday I had an announcement. But tomorrow I'm going to have on the mayor of New York, Eric Adams. I got some questions to Mr. Adams, Mayor Adams. So you don't want to miss Saturday's show. From Ayanna to Eric Adams, it's going to be a hot show tomorrow. Then on Sunday, I'm going to have on the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, on what has happened to the Congressional Black Caucus this weekend and what is going to be their stands. I'm going to have the head of the Hispanic Caucus. This is Latino Heritage Month, Adriana Espy. I don't have them on back-to-back. And Randy Weingarten, who has a new book out called Why Fascists Fear Teachers, Public Education and the Future of Democracy. So both nights is going to be some excellent guests. And, you know, I'm going to ask the questions that a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable with. But that's what we do. So watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 both nights. And then you that are in the New Jersey, Connecticut, New York area, meet me in the morning at the Saturday Action Rally. I will be there. I was in Connecticut this morning. I'm back in New York. Somebody says, is he going to caucus? I'll be in Harlem in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. Many of our friends that have been in town from around the world for the UN conference are coming up to be part of the Saturday Action Rally. So get there and be a part of it. And then the Triumph Awards is just about 10 days away. That's our annual cultural awards. And it will be on October the 6th, Monday, a week from this Monday, at Lincoln Center, in the big room at Lincoln Center. We're honoring Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. Babyface will be there to get his award. Stephanie Mills, the one and only, she'll be there to get hers. Ari Melba, the host of The Beat on MSNBC. In fact, I did his show last night. He'll be there. No one has, in my opinion, brought the culture and hip-hop together like Ari has. He's getting our culture award. Chesley Maddox Dorsey really has maintained black media ownership, and we're certainly honoring her. And the 5th awardee is the one and only Vincent Bohannon. This gospel superstar is getting an award. You don't want to miss it. It's free, absolutely free. You couldn't be in a place, an award ceremony like this free anywhere but with National Action Network. It's free. But you have to sign in, and we tell you where to get your ticket. There'll be no tickets at Lincoln Center, so there'll be no jog, no log jam at the door. Everybody will get their ticket. Come in, that's free. If you don't have a ticket, don't come down there and say, I went to elementary school. Reverend Al is not going to get you in. You need a ticket. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call right now the toll-free number, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877 626-4651. You know, people think I'm just joking, but I've had people come to our Triumph Awards, talk about they went to school with me and all, and people say, but we only go by who has the tickets and who, I mean, if somebody is giving you a ticket, you're going to see legitimate cultural, historic figures, awards, and we have our people speak. People, you know, we've had everybody from the vice president there and all. It's, in fact, we celebrate my birthday every year at the awards because it's usually around my birthday time. My birthday is next Friday, week from today. And then the awards is Monday, so we usually do a birthday. One year, Kamala Harris was vice president, rolled out my birthday cake as an example. Good, clean evening, but more important is we're honoring cultural figures that has not polluted and perverted our environment, and they need to be honored. So make sure you go and do that. Let me go back. Let me start getting some of the XL Friday calls, 1-877-532-5797, and off of our message board. Ladybug 77 said, please ask the uncomfortable questions to the chair of the Black Caucus. Thanks in advance. You know I'm going to ask questions. Rodney Jones, the mayor, said you told those who are considered celebrity the truth. You gave them a reality check. He's talking about the speech I made to all those stars that night that gave me the award that's running on rotation on our message board at National Action Network. Done that. I hear the music, so let's take the break and then come back and go to the phone. 1-877-532-5797. Shopton, keeping it real. Be right back. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Up there, can't afford to live it. And so when I was growing up, I was political without being political, in the sense that I was very angry about things.
Right.
Because, you know, like, you just felt like things were being done to you and no one was speaking to you, your family, your neighbors about how to actually involve you in shaping the place that you lived. And I got involved in quite a few like protests and organizing. And then I had a lot of support, and people at the time said, oh, we've got primaries for election for the council. And I was like, what's a councillor? And then I put myself forward, and I had zero expectation and won, and I served 3 times as a councillor.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Well, they must like you.
We must host you in Hackney when you next
I
come.
love that. I love that. Simon's trying to get me locked down some dates now. I'm coming back.
Have you ever met the mayor of London?
Yeah, I bet. He did a television show that I was sitting in for a guy because it wasn't my show, and we met and talked. He said that he knew a lot of what we were doing over here.
Yeah.
He says he knows me.
I mean, you've inspired so many of us around. You know, like that's the message I wanted to bring to you, which is, I know the work you do is like predominantly around sort of the US and to give, you know, marginalized voices, you know, a sense of power and a sense of a voice. But also, you know, like all of us in the UK and in London, we look to you to get our inspiration. And, you know, certainly for the mayor, we'd love to host you.
I will do it. I'd love to.
I mean, I think one of the things that, you know, it'd be good to, like, I guess, like, I would want this inspiration from you is, you know, you've been through, you know, you've seen it all, and you've been through much more worse than what we've seen in the UK. And as you're saying, I think all of the things that we thought we were advancing on, whether it's around gender equality, racial justice, you know, climate action, I think in the last few years, all of that is now going backwards, right? And for me, it's like one of the things that I've learned now thinking through this is, even when you're winning, you never take your foot off the pedal of the gas. And it's like, as you were saying, it's like, I'll be very keen to get your thoughts on, you know, what is the message we can take back to...
I think that if we study history, it's always one step forward and they're going to push back. I think that part of the naivety that a lot of activists, elected or unelected, is they think that if we do this one piece of legislation or get this one thing through, that we won. No, you've had a temporary victory, but there's going to always be the forces against you. So I think you have to set in your mind very young that this is going to be a lifetime struggle, and it's never going to be over. But history should record I was on the right side, and I did everything. I did my side, because history is ongoing. The example I use here a lot to people in my organization, to the young people, and is that for 246 years we were slaves, African American. Then we got the Emancipation Proclamation. Walk off the plantation. 246 years unpaid, against the law to read and write. Don't know where your family is because we're sold to different states. Somehow they put it together and they started building their churches and their businesses and all. And by Lincoln starting the Reconstruction, 12 years Reconstruction, put 22 people in the Congress. But Lincoln gets killed. His vice president takes over, who was a racist. And they reversed all that. We went through 100 years of lynchings by law. Couldn't vote by law, taking back everything we did. Then King comes along, advance again, then backlash again with rape. So it's always this going forward and backwards. History is defined by those that will fight when the wind is in their face, not to their back. Anybody's good when the wind is to your back. Your leadership is tested when the wind is facing you in the face. Can you keep running anyhow? And that's what separates the Gandhis and the Mandelas and the King from history, and those that had their moment in the sun, but we never hear from again because they couldn't take with the backlash. And like right now, a few years ago, we had a lot of young activists, George Floyd, all of that. And they faded because when the attacks came back, Trump got in, I'm going to live my life. I thought this was your life. And I think that you've got to make the commitment very early that I'm in this for the long run, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the reward is going to be history will say you were right. And but you're going to have to go through seasons. It's that, you know, maybe God wanted it that way. It doesn't matter what religion we practice, that there's seasons. It's summer, spring, fall, winter. And to get to the summer, you got to go through winter. And a lot of us don't want to go through the winter.
Yeah, I worry.
Keeping it real, I'm the host. Keep it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. And let's go to the phones. It's XL Friday, 1-877 532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let's start in Cincinnati, Ohio, with Still Bill. Still Bill.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
You are in rare form. This coming Sunday is my 65th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. We're in the same week. Happy birthday to you.
Yes. And, I have really reflected over the year. The true fact is that the one achievement that I made was the fact that I did not have to go to the hospital. I am going to just continue on staying healthy, eating right and everything. Most important, praying to my Lord and Savior, our president, our judge, our jury. I hope that we will get through all this together as black people, and I say as democratic black people. I am totally elated of the fact that Jimmy Kimmel's show is back on the air. And I just look at it like the fact that these comedians are simply taking our minds off of the stress and everything that we go through every day in life, especially with the economy the way that it is, and the fact that we got so much chaos going on with wars and everything and all that. And Donald Trump is largely responsible for all that. And I say this over and over again. God is our judge. He is our jury. He is our president. And we will see through this as black people. And I just want to say, Reverend, thank you so much for keeping me motivated throughout the year. And to Dominique, I pledge allegiance to keep it real. Keep it real. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, and Democracy.Fund is on a message board. Still Bill saying, happy birthday, Still Bill. So he and I celebrate a birthday this coming week, and that's a good thing. I love to have birthday celebrations because you should not take any year for granted. I mean, I don't do nothing crazy. Usually family, and that's it. I do the rest at the Triumph Awards with everybody else. But let's go to Renisha. Renisha in Charlotte, North Carolina. Renisha.
Hi, how you doing, Reb?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We need to talk about some voting rights, and we need to tell the Democrat Party that they have got to fight harder for our voting rights in this country, because we are slowly on our way to authoritarianism in this country with the President of the United States. And we also need to talk about this indictment, this bogus indictment against, what's his name, James Comey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, it's weird, and it's unnecessary, and it's unprecedented in this country that somebody as unexperienced as Lindsay, this new prosecutor that Donald Trump appointed, she has no experience whatsoever.
None.
So how does she get in there with no experience when you clearly kicked out somebody that's experienced, that knows how to work these cases? And they're going to lose. They're going to lose this battle when it comes to indicting this man and trying to indict other people because he don't like people or he don't like what people have to say in this country. We have got to stand up for our rights. We got to stand up for voting rights, and we got to stand up for freedom of speech in this country.
Absolutely right. No question about it. And you said it succinctly and correctly. Thank you for your call. And let me say this, that many of us have, in my opinion, dropped the ball. And we can't afford that. I did a session, as I said, to a business group this morning up in Connecticut, the Foxwoods. And there was a brother on also from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. and he was talking about the threats to our voting rights that Renisha referred to. I think people don't understand this case in Louisiana, and I had Congressman Cleo Fields, who is the congressman that they're focusing that district on. I had him on Politics Nation week before that. That's why I tell you, I watch my show, because I try to bring out things that others are not doing and get the people directly involved. So people said, yeah, I heard about some case in Texas and Louisiana, but I don't know what it is. Well, I bring the Congress people in that are being the ones that are being targeted to take out. They are trying to take out Cleo Field's seat in Louisiana, which is around the Baton Rouge area, saying that you cannot have a seat based on the fact that it said we must make sure blacks are represented. To say black is discriminatory against whites. That's the argument. And if they are successful in their lawsuit that is now going to the Supreme Court, that you can't say race at all, that will take out Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, because then no state could say that we have to be conscious of the fact that we cannot have districts that do not respect black participation, because blacks historically were discriminated against voting. That is a fact that's happening right now. And that's why I'm glad she brought that back, and because a lot of us don't understand that. And that's why I said this to me, collective ignorance about, well, we don't want to do what they did in the 60s. What they did in the 60s is what maintained voting rights, civil rights in terms of public accommodation and open housing until now. It lasted 60 years. We want to do whatever they did. We want to learn from it how we do it in this time. How are people that have lost everything that they wanted to fight criticizing your grandparents that got the stuff you had? That is exactly the opposite of what we need to be doing. Let's go to my friend Miss Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Miss Richardson, keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, my darling. How are you this afternoon, Rev? You sound so wonderful.
I feel good.
Yeah, I can tell. You're taking that healthy juice.
I drink that kale juice every morning. I drink kale juice. That's right.
Yeah, that healthy kale juice, I tell you, it'll work. But Rev, the lady that just got off, I wish you had at least adjusted her tone. She was right about freedom of speech, but I would have loved for you had, indicate to her, you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. You cannot have freedom of speech to use foul language in restaurants when people are trying to live decently and have their meals without a lot of shouting from people, with using the N-word on their own people, denigrating their own people now. A lot of these very extreme left-wingers, I'm not judging the lady, but I'm saying you will have, because see, they seem to know how to identify a conservative person when they come on here. But the extreme leftists, they will let them go by and won't say a word. The extreme leftist is someone that they want everything liberalized, even the foul language in restaurants. They have no problem with it. And I know, Reb, you are against it, where people are calling themselves the N-word, and then they're calling themselves the N-words in restaurants where they're in an integrated environment with other races, and they're seeing this and they're saying, well, why are they shouting that about themselves? And they're wondering if they do it, they'll get bopped in the head. So I'm saying we should not even tolerate that from our own, saying the N-word. And yet these people that are extreme leftists, like I say, they think they can get away on the air. I've been listening to radio for years, before a lot of people was even born. And let me tell you, I know they will not address the extreme leftists, no matter how liberal they come. They could come on and say, well, and Rev, I did hear a woman years ago, you was absent that day, and the young man was sitting in for you. And this black woman called in with the audacity to say, well, if I want to have 10 abortions, I think that I should do it. And nobody addressed this woman at all. No black called in and said, where is she going? So, we don't look at human life the way we used to. This is what's so scary to me. We don't look at little babies as being potential images of God, but we're looking at the animals, saving the animals, which is, of course, the Bible says we are to, look over the animals too. I think it's in Genesis. I think, Rev, you're a reverend. If you look in Genesis, it says we should keep the animals for perpetual or potential generations. Meaning, we should always have animals and to look after them. But where do we say anything about the little babies? I mean, it just seems like to me we're all out to get rid of human life, but yet we're saving, and they're not even talking about neutering them or having them spayed, because animals are having the little animal babies left and right, and these animals are left on the street. But I don't hear liberals and leftist people talking about that. So, Reb, could you address it? Because, see, there's some unfairness.
Let me say this. Thank you for your call. I remember that Miss Richardson had a bad experience at a restaurant probably a week ago she reported on. And she and I agree, this N-word usage, and I've been saying this for years, got in trouble with some of my hip-hop friends, and I could care less that we need to stop using the N-word. And my admonition is that you cannot call anybody else in this country their bigoted term or biased term but us. And if the N-word is not the biased term for us, then what is it? Because you know what not to call Irish or Jews or Catholics. So why could everybody call us that? So I agree with her there. In terms of people's right to choose, I believe people have the right to make choices. But I think we also have the right to say to them, the choices you make need to be done with a solid, sober thinking. And anybody just run around bragging about not having kids will do the abortions is not thinking sound. You had a right, and I believe in giving people the right of choice. You had a right to do something even if I think it's wrong, as long as it's not impugning on someone else. But you need to think about what you do. I think I agree to that point with Ms. Richardson. Let's take a break. I hear the music. And I see Democracy.Fund is saying the extreme leftists are as bad as the fascists on the right. Extremism is the enemy unless it's extreme love and justice. I agree with that. And Tanya Stovall is saying, Ms. Richardson, please stay out of the hood restaurants. Stay in the areas that you're accustomed to. They're better areas. And I think there are better areas, but I think she's right. In some of the restaurants that are not in those areas, they still should respect people. I don't care if they are in the hood, but I hear you. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the two companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're going to do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man. Don't call me the coin man. I'm going to stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Thank you. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, oh, you got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Reverend Birthday reading Daniel 5th chapter. I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. No just stand still. No just stand still. No just stand still. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We gonna shine and shake. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, family.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. This Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, all you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on our message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and post a message, and we'll read as many as we can on the air. And Happiness Donut has just put up one saying, my other exhale is how the Secretary of Defense is trying to mandate that black men in the military shave their hair, even with medical reasons documenting and on file doctors. Razor bumps hurt. And there are some medical reasons about that. But this Hex at the Secretary of Defense, pardon me, that now wants to call it Secretary of War. Hey, Rodney Jones, the mayor, says you have to have what they called a profile. My face used to be raw. Interesting. Let me remind you by way of announcements, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, and live again on Sunday. Among my guests tomorrow is that fighting Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, and she is a stand-up queen. You really want to hear what she's got to say about what's going on with black women's unemployment, her response to the political climate since the killing of Charlie Kirk, and possible ICE raids included in Boston, where she is. I'm going to have also on Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. We got a lot of questions for Eric Adams as he faces Ma'am Danny and Andrew Cuomo. They both been on the show. It's his turn. I've got some straight up questions from my old friend Eric. And as you know, being a friend of mine don't mean I'm not going to ask the hard questions. Then on Sunday, show 5 p.m., I'm going to have the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, tell us what the caucus weekend that's going on now, what did they conclude, what are they going to do, what are people expecting a lot out of Congressional Black Caucus, what are they going to get or not get. We're also going to have on Congressman Adriano Espaillat, who is the chair of the Hispanic Caucus. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. And we're going to have Congresswoman Grijavala, who just succeeded her father in the seat in Arizona, and how she is going to help keep us inching toward the majority of those that are against the Republican domination. Randy Weingarten is going to be on talking about her new book, Why Fascists Fear Teachers, Public Education, and the Future of Democracy. So 2 action-packed shows this weekend you don't want to miss. And I pause to give you opportunity to tune in. Don't miss this year's Triumph Awards. It's Cultural Awards of National Action Network. And this year we have an excellent group of people being honored. And we celebrate my birthday that night as well. It's Monday after next, October 6th, at the Big Room at Lincoln Center. And we're honoring Babyface. And he'll be there. Babyface is being honored, as well as Stephanie Mills, the great songstress. And we're honoring Ari Melba, who hosts The Beat on MSNBC. I was on his show last night. He's done this great blending of hip-hop and politics on his show. We're going to also honor Chesley Maddox Dorsey, who's kept urban radio alive and in our hands, and Vincent Bohannon, the rising gospel superstar. All you have to do to get a free ticket is you can call right now 1-877-532-5776. I was giving you the radio calling number. It's 1-877-626-4651, or you can go online at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, register, and we will get you a ticket. They're not taking tickets at the door. We get your tickets free of charge, but you got to do it now. We're almost where we're going to have to close it down. All right, let's go to the phone. Let me go to Atlanta, Georgia, my dear friend D. D, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hi, Reverend Al.
Hi.
And I think I told you about a month ago that I rejoined the National Action Network, and your birthday is coming up, and if folk can't think of anything else to give you, they can please join and say you're joining in honor of the Reb's birthday. Happy birthday, Reb.
I love that. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, my comment today is about something that Alyssa Farrah Griffin said on The View today. We know this country is highly polarized, and there are a lot of poor people, black and white, who continue to vote against their own interests. And she said something today, and the audience just groaned, and it kind of caught me off guard, too. She said that if the election was held today, she thinks that Trump would win again. And her feeling is that, she said, is that the Democrats have just screwed things up and aren't getting their message out. I hope she's wrong, But I have to agree with her that the Democrats don't seem to be doing anything in terms of getting the messaging out about what they're doing. That's why so many of us enjoy the late night comedians, because they're doing what the Democrats should be doing. And I've suggested this 2 or 3 times before to you, Reb, and if any Democratic leaders are listening, at least put out ads asking, is this really what you voted for? And show innocent people being disappeared off of our streets. Go to the grocery stores. Show where coffee is $14, $15, $19 a can. Show what's happening. And if they don't know how to do it, listen to what the late night comedians are saying and doing. But do something.
Absolutely right. Nobody has the right to do nothing. I love it. Thank you for your call.
Yes. Reb,
go ahead.
Tell the story.
Tell the story. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the midterm.
I love it. Thank you for your call. And I think we've got to do that. And let me go to message board. Ladybug 77, I think it was. I think I just saw that. Yes. Says, in my opinion, the Black Caucus does not fight enough, or if anyone, for reparations for Black Americans. Well, I think that I'm going to certainly ask that question of the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. But I know Sheila Jackson Lee and others had picked up the fight that John Conyers has started around reparations for years. The Black Caucus has, I think the majority of them has certainly said they're for reparations and fight it. The problem is getting the rest of the Congress. Let's put it this way, Ladybug. If they will not pass Affordable Care Act provisions, if they're talking about cutting back on Medicaid, you know how hard it is for the caucus to get them to deal with reparations. Should they keep advocating it? Yes. But we also have to deal with the political reality of what are we doing that would get these people out of power, that's blocking basics like Medicaid, basics like taking these inflationary prices down, as well as Medicaid. I think that that is the problem. When you have a minority in the House and the Senate, you can't advance. Should we keep, I remember a cycle ago when they run for president, I asked every presidential candidate, had them all come to the National Action Network's convention, everybody, in 2020. And out of all of them that came, Ladybug, let them speak, then I got them to say, will you support reparations, the reparation bills pending in Congress? Everyone, including Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, all of them, Pete Buttigieg, everybody said they support it, but Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders says, well, no, I agreed to a two-step solution, something that he and in the South Carolina, Clyburn had worked on. So we on it, but it's rhetoric if we don't put people in office that will implement it. We cannot just be on it. We got to stay on it and do the whole work. Otherwise, we really don't want it. Let's go to Thoreau in Cincinnati. Thoreau in Cincinnati.
Yes, hello, Reverend.
Hello.
Yes, it's the Pharaoh. I'm calling from Cincinnati. I heard a lady speak about the N-word. I want to give my view on that in another issue. First of all, let me preface what I'm saying by saying no one should use that word, period. No one. But we all know people are going to use it. When black people say that word, even though I said no one should use it, period, but people are going to use it. When blacks say that word, they say it as a euphemism. In place of it's saying, oh man, you don't know what you're talking about. they'll say the N-word. You don't know what you're talking about. They say it as a euphemism, as replacement for the word man or the person's name. When white folks say it, it's different. They saying it as a word of contempt. You're beneath me. You are inferior. So, as I said, no one should use the word. But blacks do use it. But when whites use it, they use it in a different context. So if they want to use the word whites, use it. But if someone goes in your grill when you say it, deal with that too. The other thing I wanted to say about this Charlie Kirk murder, no one should die by those means, being assassinated. But we as African people here in America, we have to understand that this is America. And as H. Rap Brown said back in 1967, violence is as American as cherry pie. So the bullet is the way America deals with its dissidents. The bullet. Going back to Abraham Lincoln, if you want to bring it up to Martin Luther King, if you want to talk about John Kennedy, when they shot and killed John Kennedy, black people were crying.
We gotta go to break.
B and C.
I got to take my break. Just a minute. Got to take my break. I'll let you finish on the other side so you can conclude, because I have a board full of calls, but I'll come back and let you wrap it up. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back. She wanted me. Year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negroitis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now Ackman and them started it going to Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10, 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this. We were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York, chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, met with the chairman of the board, met with the CEO. I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights. I learned that from Donald Trump. So what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie known you a long time, Mariah, Chris and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life.
Rev, you know, you were right there
From the beginning.
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. We've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair back.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. Your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and on the message board, Keith Harris is saying, go Al Sharpton. I think he's watching some of the live tape of Triumph Awards from last year when we had honored Wynton Marsalis, Robert De Niro, and others that were there. And I did they danced on my birthday. I think that's what he's talking to. I was going to, I said to, yeah, we were, I said one, yeah, OG, that's what I said. OG Kelly. I wanted to read, said the N-word is derogatory because it means slave. When a white guy called me that once, I told him that it takes one to know when he was discombobulated for the rest of the day. And I agree with OG. You cannot casually look over how we refer to ourselves and let others refer to us unless people are going to let us do that to them. They will not let artists put a derogatory term about others in a record or a CD. You cannot say it on television. Why are we the only ones in America that fight to use a derogatory term? And like I say, if it is not, the derogatory term is not the N-word, then what's the word that's derogatory to us? I often tell that story when I came out against the N-word. Some of my friends in the hip-hop community, I knew a lot of them. Some of them was my peers in terms of age. I was started in the 80s, Public Enemy, and them were out there who were more conscious. Some of the groups come behind them, started using those words. I came out against the N-word. They wanted to have a meeting. And they had a meeting at a white record company president's house. And about 12 of them. And they said, Reverend Al, we support you. We like what you're doing around civil rights and social justice, but you can't tell us what to say. We use the word N-word because that's what we want to use. We have freedom of speech. I said, okay. You got freedom of speech? He said, one of them said, yeah. All of them agreed. I said, all right. If you go to the studio tomorrow and cut a record calling the guy that owns this house, who is the president of a record company, out of his name, they would not put the record out. I remember Michael Jackson, and I preached Michael Jackson's funeral, had a line in a lyric in a record, and they made him go back in the studio and take it out. So let me get this right. I'm talking to these 12 rappers. If you call Irish person, the derogatory term, hate speech. If you call an Italian, whatever the derogatory term is for them, that word, hate speech. If you call a Jew, derogatory term, what is used for that group, hate speech. You call gays, derogatory term, hate speech. You call blacks the N-word, is free speech. You can't be that stupid. Everybody in America's hate speech but us, and we call it to each other. So I'm with OG on that one. Let's go back to Thoreau in Cincinnati to wrap up. Go ahead, Thoreau.
Yeah, what I was saying about President Kennedy is that black people cried when they heard about him getting killed. But if you read a book entitled The Dark Side of Camelot, written by President Kennedy's personal physician, where he quotes President Kennedy as saying that when he talked about African people publicly here in America, he referred to us as those poor Negroes. But he said in private, President Kennedy referred to us as those poor black bastards. But yet we crying over this man. Another thing about him, that his doctor said, his personal physician said, that he painted the picture that he had a World War II injury in the Navy about he had back problems. And his personal physician said he traveled with President Kennedy everywhere. And he said he didn't have any back problems. He had that little limp all because he had to shoot him all the time with penicillin because he kept VD. That he said out of his own mouth that very seldom that President Kennedy and his wife had sex because he kept VD from Marilyn Monroe and other women he was sneaking in through the back door. Like going back to Charlie Kirk.
Hello?
But I take the position that Malcolm X took about President Kennedy. The chickens just came home to roost.
Well, I think, first of all, let me say two things about what you said. One, I do not agree in any way, shape, or form in condoning political figures being shot, less known killed. I had an attack on me, and I don't think that we gain being as insensitive and low as them. I disagree with everything Charlie Kirk stood for. I did not hear Charlie Kirk call for people to be assassinated, so I don't know how that's chickens coming home to roost. In fact, I saw that he would debate people and ask people for debate, so I don't agree with you there. In terms of John Kennedy was not pro-civil rights. He was forced into what he did. And I don't know about his physician's book, so I couldn't argue that either way. But thank you for your call. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Exhale Friday. Be right back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
I got a Tony.
You got it. My daughter won a Tony Award.
That's crazy.
All right, congratulations.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, family.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around
Real, I'm your host.
Started
Reverend Al Sharpton.
Black woman president. Started with
1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Mr. Wells in Metaverse. Mr. Wells.
How you doing, Reverend Sharpton?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm blessed as usual. Gonna keep it a buck about what we do. We talk about Black folks' business. Now look, let's be fair here. I've never met Cleo Fields, and he was on your show. All right, Louisiana just had a reversal. Let's be clear. There are 2 African Americans in that 6-member delegation, so 33%. Now, Louisiana's congressional representation are African American. Troy Carter is in New Orleans. Mr. Fields is out of Baton Rouge. All right? So it's not like nobody's holding black politicians in Louisiana. They just had a court case. What he's communicating is that black folks are under attack. If black folks are under attack, how does Louisiana have 1/3? And Johnson is the Speaker of the House.
Yeah,
so
because how they're under attack is how we discussed earlier. The Supreme Court is now facing a suit to decide whether or not they're going to eliminate one of those 2 congressional seats, saying that you cannot use race as a factor anymore in drawing the district lines, which would take away 50% of the black congressional representation you have in Louisiana. So your facts are correct, and so are those that are challenging the Supreme Court, saying, yeah, blacks are commensurate with their numbers. Do not reduce the numbers by saying race cannot be a factor. That's how they're under attack.
Look, if people want to spend time on that, go right ahead.
And I do want to spend time on that, and I'm going right ahead. Because you can at one point say, Mr. Wells, that we got we're not being under attack, we have enough representation, and then say, when I give you the facts as to how they're trying to break down the representation, well, if y'all want to do that, go ahead. Then why did you bring it up?
Allow me to respond. Back in the 90s, the mid-90s, Mr. Fields was a Democrat, was elected in the district, District 4, where there was a Republican before him, there was a Republican after him. He walked away from the seat in 96 and ran for governor.
So what does that got to do with anything? What does that got to do with anything?
So
wait a minute. Whoa. So you, wait a minute. No. Let me make the point. You can't respond to a point. What that has to do with them changing the law of the Voting Rights Act. It has nothing to do with the political career of an individual. If Cleo Fields had a seat at District 4 and went away and went for governor, that's his career. They're not talking about ruling on his career. They're talking about on the Voting Rights Act changing. He just happens to be the district that they're challenging.
He ran in a district where he was a Democrat and convinced the Republicans to vote for him, which was a majority white district.
It was
So what
not a
we're saying
majority white district. The district is drawn in a way that they had a factor in that blacks had to also be involved, that they're saying now. I'm telling you for the third time. This is their lawsuit. Wait a minute. All right. I'm going to cut you off in a minute now. Every time I start talking, you want to respond. And I'll go on to the next caller. The fact is that the constituency of blacks in that district voting is there because the Voting Rights Act said you could not deal without being with dealing, I don't know the exact language, but being sensitive to race. If they take that out, then they can draw those lines and have no consideration about blacks. You're stuck on Cleo Fields. I'm stuck on the Voting Rights Act. I don't care who the congressperson people elect are, as long as we have the right to have our block of votes in those districts. Now you can respond.
Yes, allow me to respond. Like I say, and please.
All right, let's go to the next caller, because if you want to argue about you responding, I just made my point, said you go ahead and respond. Now you're going to talk about you responding. If you got a beef with Cleo Fields, that's you and Cleo Fields. That has nothing to do with my position on the Voting Rights Act. Now respond.
Right now, Terry Sewell has reintroduced the John R. Lewis back in March, Voting Rights Act Advancement Act.
Right.
And it says, regardless of race or background, everybody can vote. That wasn't what the Voting Rights Act was about black folks getting their parity. I mean, you can cut me off.
What are you talking about? Wait a minute.
Listen to me right now.
Wait a minute. If Terry Sewell's bill passes and the U.S. Supreme Court says you can't deal with race, it will nullify her bill.
No. Listen, you all, listen, please, you can hang up. You all are trying to allow people who are legal aliens vote. With black people, we got.
What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with illegal aliens. They're talking about race in the Supreme Court. I mean, come on. If you don't have your argument tight, don't try to change what we. This has nothing to do with aliens. Aliens, for the most part, can't vote. We're talking about people that can vote, and that people have protections that race cannot be eliminated. Where you have districts that eliminate and are carved up. And given the redistricting where they cut out people based on race. That has nothing to do with illegal aliens.
Listen to me clearly. I'm reading what the Act says online right now. This bill will restore and modernize the protections of the Voting Rights Act 65, addressing modern-day voter suppression, ensuring every voter, regardless of race or background, has equal access to the ballot.
Right.
There are people, what you talking about, listen, what you're trying to say is that black folks are under attack. No, they're not.
You're reading the act that they are trying to overturn in the Supreme Court. That is where I'm saying we're under attack. You are making my argument.
No, I'm not.
You are. Well, you just read it. They're saying in the act you just read, that people can vote and deal with it and not have the basis of race. They are attacking that, what you just read, and saying they cannot do that. That's why we're saying that we're under attack.
Reverend Sharpton, you
Yes.
misinformed the community. His case just went up, and they ruled on it.
No, his case
Now-
has not just went up. His case has been litigated in the state courts. It just went to the Supreme Court. It is not a new
I'm saying
case.
he just got elected on case law. He just went back in. Listen, he just went back in January
Correct.
of this year.
Correct.
All right? Please don't think folks are not paying attention like you pay attention. I've been in the SBLP
But you
for a
just
minute.
read. Let me tell you something. Your problem is you call the wrong show. You just read
No,
the
I called
very
the right
thing.
show.
You just read the very thing I'm saying they're attacking, and then saying they're not attacking it. That is what they're attacking.
No, Reverend Sharpton, what you all are saying is this: a black Republican can run in a Democratic district that's majority black, and since he's a black Republican, they won't vote for him. Well, if you take a black male who's a Democrat,
That has nothing to do with what you mixing apples and oranges.
No,
if
this
a
is-
black
this is what's
Republican runs in a black district or a district with black voters, then that's fine with me, and it's up to black voters and white voters in that district who they want to vote for. What you just read in that act has nothing to do with what party it is. Okay, let's go on. You just want to argue.
go to the
They
next
did. You do not want to listen to your own statements. Nobody's arguing about whether the candidate is Republican or Democrat. We're arguing about whether they disenfranchise blacks. They could be black Republicans or black Democrats.
In that district back in the 90s when it was a Republican. He was a Democrat. It was a white male Republican before him. There was a white male Republican.
You
so
said
a
that.
black male Democrat. Okay, look. So what it proves the fact is a black male Democrat can win a race.
And we're not arguing that. That has nothing to do with the act that we're arguing about. We're talking about black voters. You bring in Republican Democrats. There's nothing in the act that said they had to be Republican or Democrat. Nobody's denying that he won some Republican votes. We're talking about the racial makeup of a district. This is about redistricting. This is not about the party affiliation. Get your facts right.
No, you get your facts right, because if they can win, if you listen to what you're saying, if a black person can win in a district where they don't have majority black votes, what y'all arguing about y'all protecting is completely wrong.
No, we're saying that if blacks cannot have their districts where the balance of black votes is based on their population in the district, whether they be Republican or Democrat, you cannot then redraw the lines to take blacks out of that district. I don't care if the candidate is white or black. You can't tell me what I'm saying. And the mistake you made is you read the act, and that's what the act said. And you quoted Congresswoman Terry Sewell, who has got a bill that is saying the same exact thing out of the state of Alabama. Thank you for your call. I never had anybody argue with me that used my argument against me, acting like they were arguing something. I mean, this is not about party affiliation. This is about racial makeup of districts. Go back, study what you're saying, call me again, because what you're saying is a blatant contradiction of your own point. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Things past hope. Because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilly is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet. DI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
Brought up there, can't afford to live it. And so when I was growing up, I was political without being political, in the sense that I was very angry about things.
Right.
Because, you know, like, you just felt like things were being done to you and no one was speaking to you, your family, your neighbors about how to actually involve you in shaping the place that you lived. And I got involved in quite a few like protests and organizing. And then I had a lot of support, and people at the time said, oh, we've got primaries for election for the council. And I was like, what's a councillor? And then I put myself forward, and yeah, I had zero expectation and won, and I served 3 times as a councillor. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, so
well, we must host you.
We must host you in Hackney when you next come.
I love that. Simon's trying to get me locked down some dates now.
Have you ever met the mayor of London?
Yeah, I met. He did a television show that I was sitting in for a guy because he wasn't my show, and we met and talked. He said that he knew a lot of what we were doing over here. Yeah. He says he knows me.
I mean, you've inspired so many of us around. You know, like that's the message I wanted to bring to you, which is, I know the work you do is like predominantly around sort of the US, and to give, you know, marginalized voices, you know, a sense of power and a sense of a voice. But also, you know, like all of us in the UK and in London, we look to you to get our inspiration. And, you know, certainly for the mayor, we'd love to host you.
I will do it. I'd love to.
I mean, I think one of the things that, you know, it'd be good to, like, I guess, like, I would want this inspiration from you is, you know, you've been through, you know, you've seen it all, and you've been through much more worse than what we've seen in the UK. And as you're saying, I think all of the things that we thought we were advancing on, whether it's around gender equality, racial justice, you know, climate action, I think in the last few years, all of that is now going backwards, right? And for me, it's like one of the things that I've learned now thinking through this is, even when you're winning, you never take your foot off the pedal or the gas. And it's like, as you were saying, it's like, I'll be very keen to get your thoughts on, you know, what is the message we can take back to...
I think that if we study history, it's always one step forward and they're going to push back. I think that part of the naivety that a lot of activists, elected or unelected, is they think that if we do this one piece of legislation or get this one thing through, that we won. No, you had a temporary victory, but there's going to always be forces against you. So I think you have to set in your mind very young that this is going to be a lifetime struggle, and it's never going to be over. But history should record I was on the right side, and I did everything. I did my side, because history is ongoing. The example I use here a lot to people in my organization, to the young people, and is that for 246 years we were slaves, African American. Then we got the Emancipation Proclamation. Walk off the plantation. 246 years unpaid, against the law to read and write. Don't know where your family is because we're sold to different states. Somehow they put it together, and they started building their churches and their businesses and all. And by Lincoln starting the Reconstruction, 12 years Reconstruction, put 22 people in the Congress. But Lincoln gets killed. His vice president takes over, who was a racist. And they reversed all that. We went through 100 years of lynchings by law. Couldn't vote by law, taking back everything we did. Then King comes along, advance again, then backlash again with rape. So it's always this going forward and backwards. History is defined by those that will fight when the wind is in their face, not to their back. Anybody's good when the wind is to your back. Your leadership is tested when the wind is facing you in the face. Can you keep running in it? And that's what separates the Gandhis and the Mandelas and the King from history, and those that had their moment in the sun, but we never hear from again because they couldn't take with the backlash. And like right now, a few years ago, we had a lot of young activists, George Floyd, all of that. And they faded because when the attacks came back, Trump got in, I'm going to live my life. I thought this was your life. And I think that you've got to make the commitment very early that I'm in this for the long run, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the reward is going to be history will say you were right. And but you're going to have to go through seasons. It's that, maybe God wanted it that way. It doesn't matter what religion we practice, that there's seasons. Summer, spring, fall, winter. And to get to the summer, you got to go through winter. And a lot of us don't want to go through the winter.
Yeah, I worry.
You live.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. We're joined as we are every Friday to our closing hour for the show for the week from Detroit, Michigan. He is the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, head of national expansion and Midwest chair, Michigan State chair of National Action Network, Reverend Charles Williams. How you doing, Reverend?
All is well, and as always, good to be with you, Rev, on yet another XL Friday, another opportunity for us to let it out. Rev, one of the things that I always appreciated about the lyrics of James Brown is he would always remind us in so many different ways what fueled Black America. Soul Power was one of the songs I always enjoyed hearing. We needed soul power, gotta have it. Soul power. We exercised this week what I think many of us can consider soul power when many folks decided that they weren't going to stand for freedom of speech being cut off in this country. They cut off their TV in so many different places in so many different ways. And it wasn't 24 hours before those companies saw the bottom line drop, and they had to make different types of decisions. And I just want to, as I exhale today, remind folks that, there are all different types of ways that we can execute this movement. And we do it with our marching, we do it with our dollars, we do it with our vote. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we don't exercise that right to vote, don't exercise our right to freedom of speech and expression, and we always put ourselves in a position where we are just bound to take anything. You know, elections are coming up, and Detroit elections coming up across the Midwest, across the country. We're getting ready to head into the midterms. And we, National Action Network and civil rights community and all of those who have so many things that we're concerned about, we got to rile ourselves up and gird ourselves up and exercise our soul power, prepare ourselves to take back this House and take back this Senate so that we can exercise what I like to call from James Brown in soul power. Let's keep this movement going. Join us. Go to nationalactionnetwork.net. Let's join this movement. Start something in your local community, and let's get on the ground. It's our time right now, and we cannot allow what we see happening in this White House and in Washington D.C. to continue to go on.
Absolutely, and if we don't get on the ground, then I don't know how we expect things to change on its own. And I think that a lot of people are concerned, angry, mad, all of that. And then when you ask them, "Are you involved?" They say, "Well, not really." And why not? And that's my point. My point is, you cannot say that you are upset and you're not doing anything about being upset about. You action. You get upset stomach, you go take whatever, Pepto-Bismol or whatever they take. You get a toothache, you take something to take the. So if you really upset about what they're doing to our rights, voting rights, DEI, affirmative action, police reform, all of that, and democracy, then what are you doing about it? Are you a member of an organization? Are you voting? There's any number of things. I was telling a guy today at a forum that we did up in Connecticut for some very successful black business people, and I said to them, some of y'all don't march. I get it. You didn't come to the Wall Street March. But then join an organization. Send a check to organizations that'll do what you don't do. Because y'all are the ones that are going to cut the contracts out on with DEI. So
that's right.
You have a role to play by staying in business and employing our people. We have a role to play by making sure you get the contracts. I'm not asking everybody to do the same thing, but I'm asking everybody to do something. And that is what is, in my opinion, is inexcusable.
That's right. That's right. We got to take control of our own destiny.
And I think control of it requires action. Let me go back to the phones. It's XL Friday, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay. First of all, Al, black people cannot afford to be disinformed and misinformed and making disopinions like that caller that you had that discussion with when you kept trying to explain over and over and over a simple concept, and he didn't seem like he understood that. We got to be smarter, faster, quicker, and better if we want to catch up in this race that we've been running for 400 some odd years.
Right.
Now, Jasmine Crockett, and I'm in Dallas, had nothing to do with that guy on the top of that building shooting at the ICE agents.
Right.
And Adolf Trump needs to stop saying these things because those people are like the gentleman that was on Abby Phillips' show last night, characterized. Those are white guys who are disenchanted or ticked off at the policies that the Trump administration has put out. He's the cause of these cats doing this stuff, not Jasmine Crockett. And, that's just a part of his rebranding the consequences of his policies and his actions and putting it on somebody else. Jasmine Crockett had nothing to do with those guys. That guy here, she didn't have anything to do with Charlie Kirk. She didn't have anything to do with any of that stuff. Those people are disenchanted with what Trump is doing. The main thing I wanted to talk about was Sudan. And, let's go international affairs. I saw a in-depth segment on CNN about the war in Sudan. And they showed some pictures of, I guess they were rebel fighters waving their AK-47s and talking about the starvation and, how it's a bigger humanitarian crisis than Gaza. And the thought came to my mind, well, if there's no food there, nothing else there, where do they get, AK-47s and bullets and all this other stuff from? They don't have any manufacturing capability. Well, at the end of the segment, the reporter said, well, Egypt is backing one side and the United Arab Emirates is backing the other side. And from my perspective, why are you giving them guns to kill each other instead of mediating a peace agreement so those people can live in peace and stop that starvation? What do you think about that, Rev. Now?
Pose the question again, because I don't quite get the question.
The question is, why are these countries supplying this black country with weapons so they can kill each other instead of trying to get them at a table to talk about ending the war and living in peace without killing all those innocent civilians? Because
Sudan, and I've been to Sudan during the original battle in the 90s, Sudan is very rich in minerals, and they're suspect, and they probably have converted now oil. And if they keep them fighting, they will control. They're making deals with both sides on the oil and on the minerals. So it is in their interest not to have a stabilized government there, so they could be dealing with rebels and a transient government. Instability is what they need. Since they can't outright colonize like they used to, they can make something unstable and manipulate.
Okay. Well, I hope the listening audience is understanding, how, your depth and how you're able to go from one issue to another one with knowledge. Because from the black perspective, this is our mother country. We need to have those people working together instead of against each other.
Absolutely. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
No justice.
Tony Wafer, Los
What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We don't shine at the shade. Give me a papa God, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
A lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. Yes, sir. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. Yeah. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
Reverend, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Sorry to hold you up.
No, not at all. I really appreciate your time. Nice to meet you too. There is a, I don't know if you will remember this, but you came to Parliament in London with Lord Woolley, Simon Woolley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a round table.
Oh, yeah. You were in that?
I was, because before I became deputy mayor, I used to be a councilman. I was a city councilman, but I also helped found the biggest voter registration organisation in the whole of Europe.
Really?
Yeah. So last year we registered and we worked together with Simon 488,000 young people in just 6 weeks. So
wow.
But I learned a lot from you.
So did they turn out?
They did. Yeah, they turned out. But my worry is given like the state of politics in the UK right now, is their expectation of what a government could deliver is up here. The reality is somewhere here, and the performance is somewhere here.
Yeah.
And now it's like the next election, I guess similar to what you experienced between 2020 and 24. In the next election, my worry is a lot of those people who we had to convince to vote, they feel let down because they had a big appetite for change, and it hasn't really delivered in that same way. So
that's a very bad. The excitement is great, but when you start getting that coming down, some of them you lose for a long time, if not forever. And but I guess the challenge is how you excite people without over promising. And keeping it real. I'm your host, Al Sharpton. Let's go to Sasha in Portland, Oregon. Sasha.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al. How are you? It's
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to say always it's a pleasure to call and chat with such an icon in the Black community in the United States and internationally. Happy birthday. I love you so much.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much.
And I wanted to extend, I know I didn't do anything wrong, but the gentleman that called up to argue about the redistricting, I can't even say the word, he had me upset because he was trying to argue, and I was listening very closely. I was like, Reverend Al, you know, I know you try to give everyone a chance to speak, but he was more interested in arguing about a point that he wasn't really clear on because
right.
I didn't understand what he was speaking of, but it hurt my soul to hear him continue to be disrespectful towards you. So for him, I want to say I'm so humbly sorry for that. I really am.
Well,
I appreciate you.
I'm used to it. I've been doing this show 19 years. But what I'm trying to make people do is think. Obviously, the caller had his view and maybe his own reasoning. But if the districts were fair, the question is redistricting. The question is not the person, Cleo Fields. Okay. If the districting was fair, then why are they changing it? Mm-hmm. And if the district is unfair, then why are you saying that it ought to remain in front of the Supreme Court for them to change it? What he was saying was contradictory. If he was saying that what they were doing in the district was fine because a black Democrat won in the district, then you cannot go to the Supreme Court saying that it's racist to change it. That their argument is that the law as it is was biased against whites. He's arguing that no, the black won, and so therefore it's not biased against whites. So then why are they in the Supreme Court? You're arguing against your own point. If it ain't, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And I'm very humble, and I don't consider myself well versed with a lot of the issues that are going on in America or internationally. That's why I look to you for support. And I'm telling you, it just fills my spirit every time I listen and hear you speak with us. It's a blessing. I just wanted to say that God uses you as our shepherd to keep us abreast to the fact that all these things that are going on in America and internationally, God is using you to shine a light on it, to let us know that we need to keep abreast on what's going on with our Lord and Savior and Jesus Christ. And you are our shepherd to bring a light on that. And God bless you for continuing to fight and to fight for our rights. I love you so much, and I can't get enough of listening to your show. And we've been mentioned by the man that's running, supposedly running this country. And I just wanted to say from the black community here in Portland, Oregon, we're doing just fine. I mean,
Wow.
we're just no better than anybody else or worse. So we have the Antifa and all of that, all of those things going on, but the black community is here. We're doing the best that we can, and my main focus is to realize that all these things that are happening, God is shedding a light on it for us not to lose sight that He is still in control. And all these things that are going on, He wants us to make sure that we listen to leaders like you who are a shepherd straight from God. And that, I just wanted to put that on everybody's mind and everybody's spirit. God bless you, Reverend Al. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Same to all of the October Libra friends, and thank you for saying that. And let's keep going. And keep me in prayer. Thank you so much. Let me go to Fred in Milwaukee. Fred.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, just a couple of comments and then kind of a question. My first one is, because I don't know, are you aware of any oversight or any inquiries when it comes to the National Guard and ICE as far as their rules of engagement when it comes to the citizen and that's the guard in the military? Also, what troops are involved? Are these hand-picked troops by the Secretary of Defense? Are they recruiting mercenaries to aid them in doing this? Because, the public should be aware of what is, whether their rule of engagement was dealing with civilians. And then, concern when it comes to ICE, when you have masked agents, and I understand their argument that they're going to make, I was in law enforcement for 25 years, but still, if there's complaints or anything, you can't identify somebody because they have a mask. Are they hiring outside mercenaries or the different security groups to hurt? So that was concerned if there's been any inquiries as far as, because the Trump administration is not going to check themselves. So if there anybody else inquiring, like, hey, let us know that these are actually federal agents, these are also actually active military troops, and what base are they coming from? Who is their commander? What history do they have as far as complaints against them, brutality, and so forth? So that was my first question. The second comment, I guess, when it came to Jimmy Kimmel, it was a necessary evil because, it woke up people, but it woke them up for the cause of the First Amendment right. But we need those same people to be just as upset when it comes to issues affecting African American, Hispanics, and everybody else. It's like, okay, now that you're in the game, okay, fight for everything. Like we're fighting for everything, like you do on a daily basis. And the last thing when I hear people talk about crime, I mean, people gotta understand you're gonna pay for it one way or the other. Either you're gonna help educate, provide different things for kids to get involved with, whether it's social activities after school, things of that. Also, crime. You have to have parents be able to have a job that they can support a family and one job, because if you got to work two jobs and you're not at home to supervise your kids, because in my career I arrested a lot of good kids, but they got into trouble. And their parents are decent people, good people, but there's no supervision because they're trying to make ends meet. When you have a minimum wage that's still at $7.50, if you work 40 hours a week, you're not going to be able to provide anything. You're making $400 a week after taxes, everything else. You have no money. So I hear people call you like, oh, more police. Yeah, in some cases, yes. But also, if you provide everything, then crime will go down like it's doing in a lot of cities. But so those are my comments, and just
I thank you for your call. I think that you are absolutely correct. They do not want to talk about the resources that would give us the kind of educational as well as social infrastructure in these communities, which help bring crime down. And I think that cannot be ignored. If you go in other communities where there are low crime areas, they have community centers, they have athletic programs, they have after school stuff, all funded. And if you compare that to the services in our community, it's not there. And I think that factors in. Now, that does not excuse crime. That's not saying that there's an excuse for anyone doing crime in our community. But it also says it is not an excuse for them to have unequal and disproportionate resource investment when it should be given to all communities. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton Williams. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify. It's not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Seven 5325797. Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host. And don't forget, Saturday, tomorrow, and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live both days at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And tomorrow among my guests will be that fighting Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She's going to talk about the political climate since Charlie Kirk's assassination. She's going to talk about what the black woman's unemployment situation is and black maternal women being disproportionately impacted. And she's going to talk about the possible ICE raids in Boston where she's a congresswoman. Also going to have on Eric Adams. I have a lot of questions for the mayor of New York, Eric Adams. He and I have known each other 35 years, but I have some questions that he and I need to really deal with in public, as I did with the candidates running against him. Then on Sunday, I'm going to have the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus as they end CBC weekends. What are they going to do? What is their agenda? Are they going to fight more, fight harder? I'm going to also then have on the chair of the Hispanic Caucus, since this is Hispanic Heritage Month, Congressman Adriana Espaillat. And I'm going to have on Congresswoman Grijalva, who just won the seat her father held in Arizona, how she feels her seat and the continuity from her father, and she won it in a red state, what that means. Also, we're going to have on Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, whose book just came out, Why Fascists Fear Teachers, Public Education and the Future of Democracy. So I've got stacked both nights. You don't want to miss them. You that are in the New York area, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in the morning. I'll be there in the morning. Some of you that follow me on Instagram say, Oh, he's in Connecticut at a business meeting this morning. Yeah, but I'm back in New York now doing this show, and I'll be at the Saturday Action Rally in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. Make sure you are there. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it live at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to our live stream. And don't forget, people been calling all day. The Triumph Awards is a week from Monday, free. All you got to do is call. I've been getting calls from the headquarters all day saying people are calling. They're getting these last-minute tickets. They're free. It's the annual cultural awards of National Action Network. This year we're honoring Kenneth Babyface. Edmonds Babyface will be there. Stephanie Mills, and she'll be there. They'll be there to get their awards. Ari Melba, the host of The Beat on MSNBC. Chesley Maddox Dorsey, who owns American Urban Radio, keeps black ownership in our news in terms of our ability to tell our own news to ourselves, honoring her. And this gospel, in my opinion, champion, Vincent Bohannon. They'll all be there to get their awards, and you want to be there, many of our elected officials. It's a great night, and we're celebrating my birthday that night. My birthday's next Friday, but we're going to celebrate it Monday at the Triumph Awards. To get your ticket free, and believe me, by Monday, by the time I come back on Monday, tickets will probably be gone because we have much. It's a big hall there at Lincoln Center, one of the top centers in the country, but those tickets going fast. Free. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Reverend Williams, what's going on in Detroit at Detroit National Action Network?
Well, we're headed down the line here. We've got electeds making their last-ditch effort over the last couple of months as we have absentee ballots and coming out now. And so, folks, we're going to definitely hear from some folks tomorrow, the running for city council, running for mayor. Want to invite all of you to come out tomorrow because we're also planning the voter action on the 30th, coming up towards the end of the month here. We want you to be involved and want to make sure you are signed up and ready to go as we prepare to cross over in 26 and prepare our 26 voters action strategy. So join us tomorrow, 10 a.m., the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 6100 14th Street. And as we work and get folks ready to go and get signed up into the action.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Let us go to the irreplaceable one and only president of the Greater Cleveland chapter of the National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy. Dr. McCoy.
Honorable, illustrious, esteemed, and distinguished Energizer Bunny, Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton, and our Midwest Region Executive Director, where the Midwest is today, Reverend Dr. Charles Williams II. All roads lead to the Triumph Awards on Monday, October 6th, in celebration of the birthday of our founder and president of National Action Network. We're fired up and we're registered and we're ready to go to New York. Radio listeners, he's back, our very own bishop.
Yeah.
Dr. E.T. Cabinet. Come on, Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Reverend.
My brothers and my sisters, in a multiplicity of ways, Charlie Kirk showed his hate, disdain, disrespect, and disregard of people of color, especially black people. Black women, he stated categorically and arbitrarily, do not have the brain processing power to be taken really seriously. They have to steal a white person's slot to be legitimate, according to Kirk. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he said, was a bad man, going so far as to say that he is not a good person, but a bad, indeed an awful person. He further called the landmark civil rights law granting equal rights to people of color a colossal mistake. In viewing a black pilot, he questioned his legitimacy and qualifications, counting diversity, equity, and inclusion as a reason he is a pilot. He disrespected Jewish people by saying that they support anti-white movements and accused Democrats' love for America becoming less white. He, in some sick way, stated that gun rights are worth it to protect the Second Amendment God-given rights. How sad. Charlie Kirk denied systemic racism. He vilified movements for justice, and legitimized extremist movements, thereby reinforcing the architecture of racial dominance in America. Charlie Kirk enjoyed the life of white privilege in America, but the privilege of another white American who viewed him as a full-fledged fascist took him down. Here we learn that hatred breeds hatred, and violence begets violence. Early on, our learned, phenomenal leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, labeled the works of Charlie Kirk no more than fake, phony, and photo ops. Never have true words been spoken. Thank you to our illustrious and distinguished leader for your wisdom, your courage, your integrity, and for keeping our eyes on the prize. You nailed it, my brother. You called it. And it is exactly what his life was all about, Charlie Kirk. Dr. Sharpton, you prognosticated reality, and that delights me. And I want to say to you, God bless you, and thank you so much.
Well, God bless you, and we're glad to have you back. People been on the message page and on the call screen saying, where is the bishop? So we went 2 weeks, but you were ably filled in by the president of the Cleveland chapter, Dr. Marcia McCoy. She preached a little bit, Bishop, last week. So you were covered, but I want you to know that you were missed. Thank you, both of you, for being in. And let me tell you something. One of the things, and I give credit to a lot of the work of our people in the organization, like Reverend Charles Williams and Marcia McCoy, is that when we say National Action Network, it is not just a slogan. It is not a hope. We are all over the country in about 130 chapters now. Picked up 5 more after the march. People came up from the march and signed they want to form a chapter. And we have requirements. Show us you can put together 25 people, and that's a chapter. And we have regional offices in the 6 regions of the country. So if it wasn't for the Marcia McCoys and the Charles Williams and on and on and on, we would not be as national and permanent as we are. At the same time, we have Saturday Action rallies in New York and Harlem for the last 34 years. Charles Williams has been doing that for many years there in Detroit. We are carrying on the banner that we inherited by the generation of John Lewis and Jesse Jackson trained me. My generation, you have Reverend Williams and others coming behind. It is about continuity. None of us going to live forever. The most you want to do is do your part and hope that somebody sees in what you do something that'll wake up their energy, not to imitate you, but to continue to struggle. And that's what I'm proud that we're trying to do in NAN. Let us wish all of you a happy and I think, constructive, involved, and active weekend. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you Monday.